Hey everyone, it's Kevin from Quiet Ego, and today we're going to talk about a little game on itch.io I found called Dethrone. I'm going to discuss 3 design elements that I think this game excelled at, and 2 aspects of the game that I think are worth further consideration. Let's go. Dethrone is actually an entry in the Game Maker's Toolkit Game Jam 2019, so Case Portman, the designer, only had 48 hours to create the game. So I just wanted to quickly talk about it because I thought it was a really fun game, and I think they got a lot right with the design. First off, they elegantly and quickly introduced these simple controls and mechanics to the game. 1 screen for movement, 1 for jump, 1 for wall jumps. Then the game starts and the levels get progressively more complex. One specific example of this elegant design is how they introduce the platforms that disappear after you touch them. The first time you interact with them is at the beginning of a level, as you are forced to fall on some of them, and the only way to get through is to have one disappear. This level in no way needs this initial platform, but it's a very elegant way of showing the player how this new platform acts in this game. Second, in the absence of color, the designer is forced to change the shapes and the designs of the different objects in the map. Simple changes go a long way in communicating what is happening in the level. For example, the little spike sprites that kill you if you hit them make these little glitchy movements that make it easier to notice them while you're moving throughout the level. Also, the platforms that start moving when you jump on them are made up of 2 different sized rectangles. Again, making it easier on the eyes to differentiate between objects in the level. The designer was forced to do this since they only use the color black, but even in games with colors, it's important to consider how shapes can be used to elegantly communicate what types of objects are present. Also, it's a good consideration for colorblind players. Third, the level design is intuitive. Each level is all on 1 screen, so figuring out how to get to the end is pretty straightforward. Though within that 1 screen, the levels pack a punch with some technical sections in between the sections that guide you towards the end. There's a minimalism to the levels that simplifies the goal. There's never too many platforms, but there's always just enough. So there isn't a whole lot of guessing where to go in this game. Those technical sections of each level are never that long, so they provide these little bursts of dopamine each time you get through them, and they don't overstay their welcome. Alright, I wanted to quickly talk about 2 aspects of the game that are neither good nor bad, but I think they're worth discussing. First, the character sticks on the edges of platforms a little too much. This creates some awkward moments like this. As you can see, I've waited until half of the platform is past the far edge of this landing, yet when I fall down, I'm still too far to the right to land safely. I was able to adjust by waiting a little longer, but it didn't feel that intuitive. So I'd be interested to see if the game feels a little smoother if the stickiness is reduced. This isn't a deal breaker for me by any means because I was able to adjust for it, but it did just feel a little awkward. Lastly, upon dying, everything resets except for the positions of moving obstacles. While this mechanic isn't inherently bad, it is worth bringing up because it helps define what type of playstyle is important for the game. Memorization versus improvisation. If everything in the level resets upon death, then the player will play the same level over and over again and begin to memorize every jump and obstacle. Success requires repetitive and, in quotes, mindless execution. On the other hand, when obstacles do not reset upon death, the player must adjust certain jumps and movement timings to get around obstacles and succeed. Personally, I think the game benefited from having some improvisation elements, since it was so short and simple. But there were some times when I died because of where the obstacles were in their cycle, and my moving platform was out of sync with that. So it's important to note that the more improvisation aspects of your game, the more challenging it is to balance. The lack of balance in this game gets a pass though, since each level is so short, but for games with longer levels, it can become a real pain. Alright, so those are my thoughts on Dethrone. You should definitely go check out this game right now. I'll put a link in the description, and make sure you come back to the comment section and let me know if you agreed or disagreed with any of the points I made today. If you'd like to see more game videos like this, please hit that subscribe button. It means a lot for a small channel like this. But regardless, thanks for watching.